I'm registered dietitian Abby Sharp, and on my new podcast, Bite Back with Abby Sharp, I'll be dismantling the multi-billion-dollar diet industry that keeps us in a cycle of self-loathing and food fear. Join me every Tuesday for expert interviews, engaging conversations, and my signature science and sass to bust myths, correct misinformation, and help you break free from diet culture for good. Listen for free on the Seeker app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Philly Joe and Kirby Podcast.
This is the Philly Joe and Kirby Podcast.
Yeah, we have a lot of money building as far as who the hell is that. Your next chance coming up at 6:30 this morning, okay?
Okay, and in 10 minutes on the Bone Phone, we've got someone beefing about people's guesses lately. We always wind up with that.
Oh, man.
As we play Who the Hell Is That? Because there's so many people that want to get in. And so you could understand the frustration.
Yeah. Some don't even check, right? Like on our website where the misguesses are, so.
And then we got some calls about the Amazon broadcast last night for the Jets games.
I figured we were going to hear from some fans who were not happy with that.
Well, there were some technical issues for some people. Some people I read actually enjoyed the broadcast and liked the crew that they had involved in the game. So I'm interested to hear these Bone Phone calls. I just want to backtrack to Nirvana for just a second.
Yes.
Unplugged in New York, Friday night at 9 o'clock. Yes, you can hear the album anywhere you want, but it's turning 30, and our good buddy H has made it a landmark album feature Friday night at 9.
Great idea. So, sorry, go ahead, Curbs.
I was just going to say yesterday, I was driving back from my massage appointment and I saw a bunch of Leaf fans making their way downtown.
For sure.
And I was like, oh, it's one of those games where you see the opposing team flooding the streets.
Yeah, Leafs, Habs, Bruins, Flyers. That's pretty much, you get, like, that's the most.
Yeah, and it's funny because last night our good, my really good friend, Don Callis, was back in town, and he brought in ECW and still wrestling star, now working with TNA, Tommy Dreamer to town, and so I had a chance to catch up with Tommy, who I hadn't seen in a while.
Tommy Dreamer?
That's his wrestling name. Yes, it is, and he's been around for a long time, but what he's doing is, people thought he might have been in town for wrestling, but he's doing an arena run of NHL teams. He's working on the baseball stadium run and the NFL stadium run, and he's only got like about 5 more cities to go as far as the NHL. And Winnipeg was his stop last night, so saw a pretty good hockey game there. The Jets got back into it late, but
that'd be fun.
There's a lot of fans that do, like sports fans that like to go to multiple different, stadiums or
I thought it was
arenas.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So this scared me, though, during the Amazon broadcast. I got this here.
What is...
My broadcast just went like this for a bit.
A few people were mentioning that, yeah.
That's what it sounded like from the TV?
For like 5 minutes from the TV. It was terrifying. I thought the aliens had invaded.
Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Were you watching on a television or on your phone by chance?
TV.
Yeah, I had mine on the phone, and I didn't notice as many problems as some did.
I was worried about your dad. Did he figure it out
He
last
did not
night?
call me. He must have not even realized.
I was waiting to find out if Daryl had something to say about the game being on Amazon.
You know what the best was? I thought of Daryl last night because I was looking at some of the comments, and I was with a group of people, and there's a few people said, the hell with it. I'm just going to watch baseball or football. Like, because they had other options last night.
Yeah.
Or there was other games on last night, but it was just funny because it all starts like this at a certain age. The hell with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kathy must have did me a solid and took him out for a Salisbury steak or something. I don't know.
Philly Joe Kirby.
Philly Joe and Kirby
Podcast.
The Philly Joe and Kirby Podcast.
Okay, Amazon broadcast last night, Winnipeg Jets and the Leafs. Not everybody was happy about it.
Morning, guys. Vince here. The Jets suffered their first loss of the season. Congratulations to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Yay. Aside from the loss, Amazon Prime. One thing I was not impressed whatsoever. I'm a big anthem guy, whether it's both or whether it's just that one. You cannot cancel out the national anthem if you're supposed to be this big Monday night Prime, Amazon Prime night. hey, the shots of the city were good with the drone and everything, Esplanade Real, great, but you can't cancel out the national anthem for TV viewers. Anyways, you can't cancel out. Other than that, it was pretty cool having them broadcast downstairs in the Ticketmaster lounge and, different stuff that like that. So, I mean, yeah, I thought it was cool. Let's get them back on, I believe it's Wednesday in Detroit. Go Jets, go, and go Bombers.
So I talked to a technical person that was involved with the broadcast. They're just hired guns, right, by places like Amazon, and they were putting a lot of money into these broadcasts that you wouldn't see on a regular night. I don't know what all the nuances were because I was out with a group last night watching the game, but you saw it on TV. Did you notice different things that stood out to you by chance?
You can tell it's high quality. You can tell they put a lot of time and money into it. Like, it looks good. I think it looks sharp.
Like, we've got a few Jets games that are going to fall on this Amazon Prime schedule, but not as many. A buddy of mine living in Toronto talked to him last night, and he said there's like 10. So if you're a Leafs fan, you're paying extra in places like that to make sure you have the streaming site. 10 games is a lot of a season.
Well, if you do have Amazon Prime and you're new to it, make sure that you take advantage of the stuff that's on there, including the documentary about the Tragically Hip.
Yes.
Definitely. But like 3-man broadcast team, I forget the play-by-play guy's name, but he's good, and they had Eddie O and Frankie Coronado, so it's a serious operation they're doing there, as you mentioned, Joe, with these broadcasts. Okay, but still, we're getting the unhappiness.
Why are they putting the Jets game on some strange channel that nobody has? What kind of horse is this to try to make money off making people subscribe to stations they don't want? It's such bullshit. Why don't they bring back the Jet station and put them all on that bloody station except for the times they have it on Hockey Night in Canada?
Strange channel nobody has. It just sounds like, look, if you don't have it, that's what it is to you, right?
Right. Yeah. And there's a few people that are having an issue with the fact this isn't the Jets. This isn't anything more than a streaming site paying a lot of money to broadcast some live sports content to make money.
Yeah.
Right? That's really what this is.
Revenue streams.
They weren't sitting there worried about whether you and I were buying. They were hoping we were buying their subscription if we weren't already getting packages.
Okay, Dr. Hockey. You knew once the Jets lost their first game, Vinny would weigh in.
So the Jets lost one game. They were 8-0. I said if they were 8-0, but we'll see what happens. Like Helleback, let's be honest, he played that's one of his worst games I've seen him play. He didn't play a really good game. But I'm sure he'll step it up. Every goalie has a bad game. But the thing with the Jets, I was going to say, okay, they lost one game. Like I say, if they lose 2, maybe 3 at most, but just 2, then they can win, 4 or 5 in a row. Then I'll start believing in the Jets. It's going to take a while because, the Jets play the same format of hockey every year. This year, they're stepping it up. I'll give them that. They got to win more than they lose. Then I'm convinced. Then I say the Jets finally got it right.
Got to win more than they lose before he believes in them.
I'm also breaking this down. I don't know how many hockey pundits are saying this, but it's usually the first 15 to 20 games that you can really tell if you're going to jump on the bandwagon. But I will guarantee you that Vinny did not watch the game on Amazon Prime last night. Would that be fair to say?
I mean, unless he was at a buddy's.
There's no way.
Just can't imagine him figuring it out.
He went to a buddy's to watch it on Amazon Prime. I don't see it. I'm with Joe. I don't see it. No chance. Okay, let's wrap up with this one.
Somebody just said Vinny ain't no Helleback girl.
No, he's not.
We had a great conversation yesterday comparing Kirby to our listeners as far as selfies at the workplace go. Kirby's at 2 to 4 days a week with the selfies in the office. And our listeners,
especially with our new office, I mean, the bathroom is it's made for it.
Right.
We have one too, by the way. The men's have that same studio lighting.
Well, you should
mirror.
take advantage of it, Joe.
No.
I taught you how to take a bathroom selfie.
You did.
The vast majority of our listeners came up with the zero option on the selfies at work, as opposed to Kirby's 2 to 4 selfies at work a week. Anyway, we got a call.
Hey, plumber guy here. So just going on the topic I heard about this morning was selfies, and Kirby's all for it. As a plumber, I say I'm at work, put on a toilet, and the first thing I think of is when I'm done is not to clean up my tools, but to sit on the toilet and take a selfie.
Sure.
Said no one. So not on your page, Kirby. Back.
Come on, buddy. Step it up.
That is so
That's
funny.
it.
You
Go
should
plumber
start.
guy.
You should start. That could be a whole series. Is like, I'm a plumber who takes selfies on the toilet after I installed it.
Great way to get respect from your coworkers in that type of trade.
Absolutely.
I mean, I would throw a like. Just saying.
Kirby's got the likes in there, yeah.
No kidding.
The Philly Joe and Kirby podcast.
I also talked to myself a lot, Joe. Off air, Joe was looking at his phone and chatting away as he looks at his phone, and I said, what, Joe? Oh, just talking to myself.
Well, it's Two Dat Tuesday, and that was NFL Sunday for me, and putting up some Christmas lights.
Got them up, eh? Damn it,
Yeah.
I have not put mine up yet. And you don't...
The weather was nice.
Important note, just because every now and then when we talk about getting Christmas lights up already, people will send us a message. Hey, after Remembrance Day. You don't put yours on, and neither do I, till after Remembrance Day. But
That's right.
When you get the nice weather, if you can get out on that roof and put them up.
I don't judge people that do turn them on, but just my rule, just to support all the men and women that serve this country.
Same here.
That they don't go on till the next day.
Two Dat Tuesday. Oh, some pictures.
But I was just looking at my football picks overall, after the Monday Nighter, that kind of thing. That's what I was talking to myself. I said the Vikings cost me Thursday night in one of my confidence pools. I put a lot of points on them to beat the Rams, but
I thought they picked that win up, too. We were talking about that last week.
Yeah. So that's what I was talking out loud about. Nothing serious.
We went 2 for 3, by the way, with the lock of the week, which we're on a run. Like, we're having I'll say this, not to toot our own horn, but we're having a really good year with the lock of the week.
You know who's having a great year?
2 of 3.
Kirby.
I
She's
think
on a heater. Her
What?
picks, she's on a heater. Well, you're taking the Chiefs a lot.
Takes the Chiefs.
Ever since I became a Chiefs fan,
Yeah.
I feel like we've really been doing well.
And even
Well-
look at last year. You were a Dan Campbell fan, so you took Detroit. It'd be two of the most successful teams right now this year. They're not paying a lot, but you are picking winners.
It's not about the payout.
No,
Her
not
two
at all.
teams that she takes every week are either the Lions or the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And then you'll throw some salt at Joe and I when we miss our picks. But we've got to make sure there's some money involved. We can't all take $1.10.
No, it's great when you put down 20 and win 18.
That's what
Or 21.
If we all went
So
with
what a win.
Kirby's type of
Well,
favorites, that's what we'd be winning.
Yes.
This is why I'm not into the
Nope.
sports betting.
No, it's
You
good.
know, it's-
You're a part of this threesome of picks,
And
it's
that's all
good.
I need in my life.
That's it.
Is to be a part of the picks.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't want to pick anything else.
You don't want to go anything other than Chiefs and Lions. That's what Kirby
And,
picks.
and Lions have become a very rare pick for her now because she's really all into the Chiefs. Yeah,
every week. I think the Chiefs and Lions are going to meet in the Super Bowl. And I mean, I know that.
Then we'll
That's
see.
gonna be a really hard one.
It will
to
be.
choose.
How do you go against your boy Dan
We're gonna
Campbell?
have to see how the relationship between Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce is at that time. And honestly, how Dan Campbell has done in terms of meltdowns over the season.
He doesn't really melt. Well,
I wouldn't call when he does a meltdown. I think he's just very intense.
He's intense.
he's very
He's passionate.
Have you seen his Applebee's commercial yet?
Yeah.
he's so
It's
good.
tremendous. No, really, you've seen it?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
Yes.
it's
Well, because you
fantastic.
mentioned it, and then I looked it up on YouTube.
It's so good.
You know what? I have warmed up to Dan Campbell. There was a time when it was like too much, but now the more I see Dan Campbell, I love that guy. How can you? It makes complete sense that when you watch him speak, that they're successful. Like you cannot want to go play for that guy.
Absolutely. If he wasn't a football coach, he's a bill collector for somebody. I'm telling you, he's got that intensity.
All I think about is you guys.
Yeah.
That's all I think about, man. That's all I think about is you guys.
He'd be a good time to drink with, okay?
I bet you
He'd be the guy who shuts it down at the end of the night and tells everybody that he loves them.
he's probably the husband, too, that cries during a rom-com. Like he's got that side to him, I'm sure.
This is the Philly Joe and Kirby podcast.
That's right. Thank you, Boston Pizza text line. And Kirby, you knew, but the Tool was here in 2023, last year.
Yeah.
They made good on their show. I was thinking because I remember the original, the COVID time, it was an awesome couple of weeks of announcements. Rage Against the Machine and Tool were supposed to come, I feel like close together. Anyway, the announcements were close together, and then Rage canceled completely. and Tool rescheduled. So
That's
Tool
correct.
Has been back, and that's where the gentleman fell asleep. I don't know how you fall asleep at a Tool show.
That's
I
pretty
mean,
amazing,
it
isn't
was,
it?
It was in the lulls of like some of the songs, and then and like they would pick up, and he would,
Their most recent album, they do have some 12-minuters. Like almost every song on the album is ridiculously long.
All I remember from that show, sorry, Joe, is just like they had the big screen at Canada Life Center, like behind them on the stage. And it was like, if you grew up in the early 2000s with a screensaver on your Windows like PC, that was like what played behind them. It's just so if you like watched that and like were into like their newer songs, I don't doubt that he fell asleep.
Yeah.
I think you guys might be giving him a little too much credit with falling asleep. I think the guy was just, in and out.
Zoning in and out. Yeah, could
Perhaps,
be.
yeah.
Joe, did you get a email or a text message from
Middle of the night.
Revenue Canada in the middle of the night?
Middle of the night, it was a text. It even had the logo, so it has to be legit.
They're working on your portfolio. That's how big of a deal Joe Aiello is. They got around the clock.
CRA.
They got around the clock staff looking at your accounts.
Yeah.
Are you getting arrested as well?
I don't think so, but if I don't pay all these fines, there's about 7 or 8 fines they're asking for here.
Wow.
Just pay them.
What a badass.
Yeah. As they said in The Sopranos, they're going to crawl so far up your butt, they're going to know what you had for breakfast.
So is that legitimate? That's not. That's a scam, right? No,
Yeah.
Or do you, it
Legit,
can't be.
it's a scam.
It's a scam for sure.
Well, I don't know about how many government employees I know in my world, but none of them are working all night on sending out emails.
Yesterday, I had missed calls from like a bunch of like these random numbers. And I thought it was like because we get so many scams these days.
Yeah, some of them say likely spam, too, when they come up.
Well, I just didn't answer them. I was just like, no. And then I let them go to voicemail. Turns out that I forgot that I had ordered something from Amazon, and they were like trying to get in my building. So
They were legit.
So what do? They drop
They'll
it
be
off
back
at
today.
Sev? Oh,
They'll
they
be
come
back
back?
today.
Oh, they love you.
No, she sat down with the driver and asked him how to hook her up with Amazon Prime so she could watch a Jets game.
Yeah.
Philly Joe Kirby.
Philly Joe and Kirby
Podcast.
The Philly Joe and Kirby Podcast.
I'm registered dietitian Abby Sharp, and on my new podcast, Bite Back with Abby Sharp, I'll be dismantling the multi-billion-dollar diet industry that keeps us in a cycle of self-loathing and food fear. Join me every Tuesday for expert interviews, engaging conversations, and my signature science and sass to bust myths, correct misinformation, and help you break free from diet culture for good. Listen for free on the Seeker app or wherever you get your podcasts.
No, I wasn't going to say security guard as we do PJK Extra. I was going to say Joe would be like if here at our new premises, new building here on Scurfield, 22 Scurfield, moved from Osborne Village, where we had been for years. Like how many years was 92.1 City on Osborne?
I bet you 20. I bet you for sure.
Time.
I remember when the building opened. I just can't remember what year that was, but I think I told the story before about running into an engineer that was putting the building together, and I hadn't seen him in about 10 years, and I walked into the building for a tour, and he was the first guy I saw. I said, "Hey, Laverne, how's it going?" And he goes, "Holy cow, I haven't seen you in about a decade. I can't believe you remembered my name." I said, "I don't mind the credit. My memory's pretty good, but how many Lavernes do you think I know?"
That's right.
Right?
That sticks. But anyway.
Night and day difference, right?
Yeah, new building, by the way. If you hear some drilling in the background, they're doing some...
I hope you do. It'll add to the extra.
Yeah, that's... It's been going off, off and on all
I decided
morning.
to bring my power tools to work today.
Yeah, no, there's actually qualified contractors here doing some work around the building.
I was hoping, at the very least, for a high-vis vest and a hat. I wanted one of those construction hats to walk out, a safety.
Yeah, you could be a foreman.
See, that's what we're getting at here when we first started the extra. What I wanted to throw out there is, Joe, you would be a very good hall monitor. Like if, at schools, they have hall monitors that walk around.
That's where it all started, the dream.
Yeah.
That's where the dream came to life, Phil. I was a monitor when I was younger. And chalk brushes were everybody wanted to be the chalk brush monitor.
Hey, you got a hall pass?
But I wanted to be, way before the movie Hall Pass. And it had a whole different meaning back then. I wanted to be, hey, you know how much power and control you have as a hall monitor?
Oh, yeah.
No one's going to the bathroom unless you let them pass through.
But you can't do it if you're just a student. Like you can, but it's tough. You look like a narc. You look like no one's gonna. The other kids will. Oh, hall monitor, get me. Oh, there's the drilling.
Isn't that good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Hope it comes through.
I mean, you could also, I've always said this, and maybe not out loud, but I'm saying it now, that you could be a good greeter. I'm not saying at Walmart.
Like at
I'm
Walmart.
just saying greeting anywhere. I don't think a lot of people will get through the door very quick, but they get through the door with a lovely greet.
Yeah, I agree with that. Joe would be good at that. But
I want a hard hat.
Who wouldn't want to be greeted?
I think
just in case, for safety, get you a hard hat.
Yes, I think you should have a hard hat and a high-vis vest for being a hall monitor here at work. Because you're in the hall a lot, you go for water. Like no one drinks more water than you in this building, and it's kind of it's a bit of a haul to go to the water cooler. So you're always in the hall anyway. You might as well have the high vis and the hard hat, and you got to ask people though.
That's more my pace. You put me in a retail outlet, it's going to be a little overwhelming because people come in. They come in floods. One time. I don't need that here at work. It's a little bit quieter pace.
Sure,
that's a good retirement job.
So you see, do it right now. So you see someone in the office. Hi, Gwen. I'm Joe Aiello. What are you doing in the hallway? I'm the hall monitor. May I ask? That's what you. Isn't that what you do?
I cannot wait until a company-wide email goes out. So, is anybody aware we have a hall monitor asking people in the building?
Who's going to look after the couriers when they come during the day?
You. That's all part of the
That's
game.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, you're eventually going to have to negotiate a higher salary because that's a lot to add.
Higher salary? You're going to get paid for this too?
I think it's a volunteer gig.
Oh, it's a volunteer position. That's even better.
It's just like being on the social
committee. Joe, you got a lot of time in your day to volunteer.
Do I get a desk at the front at least, like an area?
A concierge.
You gotta have,
yes, you have to have
an area.
Where's the nicest hotel in the area, sir?
With temporary lanyards that you hand out to
I like
people.
that.
Visitor lanyards.
But you know what though? We might be overdressing with the high vis and the hat now, because anybody that does that has got like a suit, like a security guard suit.
And you already dressed that part.
Well, no, a security guard suit. You have to have like a uniform.
Nice.
It's got to have a name tag.
Yeah.
on the blazer.
Joe.
Okay, well, we'll workshop something.
We're on it.
What an extra today. Like I've got a whole new career path.
The Philly Joe and Kirby podcast.
I think we just got to wrap something up. Put a bow on something from yesterday's show, because sometimes we'll take a vote. We'll poll our listeners on the Boston Pizza text line, and then we won't give, a firm result or a percentage. And I'll get back into the topic with this phone call, which I didn't get a chance to play in the 820 bone phone, pertaining to how many selfies do you take at work in any given week?
Hey, plumber guy here. So just going on the topic I heard about this morning was selfies, and Kirby's all for it. As a plumber, I say I'm at work, put on a toilet, and the first thing I think of is when I'm done is not to clean up my tools, but to sit on the toilet and take a selfie.
Very
Get
common.
no one. So not on your page, Kirby. Bye-bye.
Come on. I can't tell you how many times I'm driving by a job site or roofers, and you can just see them up there taking selfies. It's more common than these people are willing to admit.
Honestly, I agree, because
she agrees.
If you're doing something just put together a toilet, be proud of that and take a selfie. So that when you're going through your camera roll and you're looking one day and you're thinking, what the heck is this? Oh, that's right. That's the day that I took a selfie
with the toilet
after I, was working on the plumbing.
Especially since there'd be no other chance that the plumber was actually working with the toilet again. That would be a special day.
Well,
it's a big moment.
Of course,
that
big moment.
Specific toilet, Joe. It's
I understand.
Small steps you got to take note.
The survey, actually, you had hot dog guy in your favor who drives a vehicle for a living, right? So he apparently would stop and do a selfie. And one other person. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You're starting off small at the grassroots level with your let's selfie from work, take a break, a selfie break from work.
I'm not saying that everybody has to join in on the movement.
Starts with two.
It starts with 2 or 3 people.
There's
Yeah,
hundreds.
you're right.
I think we got to go with about 150 said no selfies,
Yeah.
like zero selfies. There was about 100 zero.
I understand. Mass amount of people that do not take selfies at work.
It proved that there's a lot of hardworking people in this province. That's what it proved.
I agree.
That don't have time for a selfie because when you see that number,
I
zero.
have to say the people who are working and taking selfies are working even harder because they have to multitask.
Yeah,
while they're working
it's
to
hard
take
for
said
you.
selfie. Yes, I agree, Phil.
roll
it's very
in
hard.
here?
Yes, yeah.
What else could you possibly be doing to multitask when you're doing a selfie? I don't understand.
I'm working.
She opened her computer. She logged. Joe, she gets into work, logs onto her computer, and fires up a selfie of the microphone and her
100%.
outfit.
Some people make coffee when they get to work. I got to take a selfie.
No, I fully understand.
You should try it.
You're the hardest working person I know.
And lots of times,
I don't know about that.
There's a slogan in there, like, hey, feel like
that's work.
Live your best
And
life
that
today.
is, thanks, Joe. Yeah, coming up with a slogan for a caption in a photo is a lot of work.
100%. I'm inspired by you every day.
That's the key.
And that's
free. She doesn't even charge you for that.
No, that's true.
I aspire to inspire.
You what? What's that one?
She aspires to
inspire.
That's an original.
This is the Philly, Joe, and Kirby podcast.
ZZ Top, give me all your lovin'. Give me all that lovin'. 92.1 City. Give me it all. Give me
You
it all.
sound like you're doing a stick up. Like, give me all that loving.
I don't want half your lovin'. I
sir.
want it all. Philly, Joe, and Kirby.
Just typing something in.
The finger typing. I
That's
love
it,
Joe.
I've got 3
I
fingers
know.
that I type with.
Oh, man.
It's so funny to watch.
I
But
do.
you're efficient, I got to say. You get her done.
Yeah.
For a finger typer, you're quick. Like, ba, 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 ba.
Were you like that on your BlackBerry?
Yeah, that's how I learned how to type in high school. It was a course, right? I never went.
They taught you
Typing
in
was
the
a course. Oh, yeah.
And you never went
Yeah.
because they wouldn't teach you the finger
No,
typing.
they teach you the 5 and 5
Yeah.
or whatever it is, right? Like you do.
I learned that.
Like
yeah.
I'm a God, man. I get like when I see you, I come in here right after you, and it's like, man, you're like in a newsroom. Like you can do it. Like I'm impressed with anybody that doesn't even have to look down at the keys to type. Me, I got to look down. I've got my right index finger and my middle and index finger on my left hand. I don't even use
those 3.
I don't even do 2 and 2. I'm off balance typing with 3 fingers.
Well, you've added the second one on the one hand.
It's something to watch. I will say, I wasn't a natural at very many things in school. This is bizarre. But typing, I just picked it up. Like I could have been, like, it's crazy. I could have been an executive assistant.
Oh.
It's just,
I was the
just-
same way. I soaked it up. And in fact, I
just
used
worked.
to love taking the tests where it would like
oh yeah, nail it.
tell you how quick you were at typing.
How
know?
you were on the intramural typing team is amazing.
I could have, should have been. I should have gone to
Yeah, I'm
typing
serious.
club.
It's one of those skills I wish I had now.
Why wasn't there a typing club?
You
I
know
could
what?
have been
I
great
don't
in
know,
that.
but I don't think it would have lasted very long. I don't think it would be still established to this day. Can you imagine? What are you guys doing at lunch? I'm gonna
Typing
go.
club.
But you
I
know
got
what's
typing club
interesting
today.
is when I learned, it was like the old typewriter, so you could actually hear the difference between the person next to me who's doing 5 and I'm going, and then, right? And the other person's, and I'm going, and then all of a sudden I got a backspace.
Joe, I would have
man.
cheated for you at that point. It would have been terrible to listen to.
You know what? I barely made it through school. Well, I don't know
Honestly.
what the hell went wrong.
The scars from typing are evident, Joe, and I'm glad you can talk about them. That's what's important.
Philly, Joe, Kirby.
Philly, Joe, and Kirby.
Podcast.
The Philly, Joe, and Kirby podcast.
Did you know, fun fact here, this blew my mind, the original Halloween movie, Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Myers, whoever played that guy.
Great actor.
Oh, man. He has so much depth. Like the way he stalked around in that mask with the knife, just killing people in that poor town. Anyway, and then there was this, I'll figure his name out, but he was I want to say he was a psychiatrist. He was a big part of those movies too, older guy. The original Halloween cost $300,000 to make.
$300,000 to make the original. So, okay, think about it. The mask
Yeah, that was
couldn't have been very expensive.
probably
It
need
was
a few
generic.
masks.
It was a generic mask.
Sure.
The outfit for
I mean,
Michael
it was just
Myers.
like work overalls.
Yeah,
no,
like
yeah.
listen, whoever designed the movie isn't winning an Academy Award for best costumes, right?
Simple wardrobe, Michael Myers.
And Jamie Lee Curtis probably brought her own stuff. Like
yeah,
beautiful
she did.
lady.
I did see that she had her own
wardrobe.
personal clothes that she wore in that movie. It went
pretty crazy.
It went on to make $47 million, making it one of the
Wow.
most successful independent films of all time. Crazy.
That is crazy. Speaking of costumes, this year, you guys ready for like what's hot?
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
When you were away, Joe and I, like, this was a news story. So we might, like, if we try to guess, I bet you Joe and I, if it's from the same source or they pulled the same people, we might know. We might be able to guess some of these. Do you have the top trending costumes?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, the top trending costumes according to Google Trends.
I always go with the superhero thing, right? Because Daredevil and Wolverine were obviously a big movie that did big box office. One of them, or maybe both of them have to be on some list.
Superhero-wise, Dr. Doom and Lady Deadpool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
No
Deadpool or Wolverine?
No, not in the top
Interesting.
10.
What about Taylor Swift?
No, not in the top 10.
Not Taylor Swift and Kelsey together as a
That
couple?
would have been last year. Like that was a hot costume last
So
year.
last year, Phil.
Oh my God! What story was I reading, Joe? And I thought Joe and I, like the one that Joe guessed, the one that I guessed was in the news story that I had. We're like, we got this, we know this. Okay, what do you got?
One of the biggest movies, Beetlejuice, like the remake, obviously.
Yeah,
that was in there.
That would make sense for sure. Beetlejuice.
A few characters from that movie, obviously, including the shrunken head Bob. Like that's going to be a big one. Ray Gun, which is the break dancer.
That was on the list too.
Yes.
Ray Gun.
She was in the from Australia.
I've seen a few people already after the past weekend because there was a lot of wedding socials and Halloween parties this weekend. Well, Phil and I were thinking on going as Drake and versus Kendrick Lamar this year.
Really?
we thought about it, but it was just
we couldn't decide who was going to be the Canadian.
Yeah.
So we dropped it.
That's a tough choice. I saw this over the weekend. A lot of people dressing up from characters from Inside Out, like the kids movie.
Still, eh?
Yeah, Envy is one of the big characters this year. And then what else do we got? Sabrina Carpenter, which is like the Taylor Swift of this year.
Oh. Right.
And what is this other one here?
That's a costume, eh?
Red from Descendants.
Oh, really?
What about Michael Myers? Is he not in there?
I mean, maybe
Come
back
on.
in 1980, whatever year.
We used to work with a guy.
There's
who
always going to be
would
somebody
dress
dressing up as a classic Michael Myers.
Look at this. And there's a lot of people on the Boston Pizza text line that are throwing this out there. The original Myers mask was a Captain Kirk mask, spray painted white.
What?
And a lot of people are throwing that fun fact at us. Isn't that interesting?
Crazy.
I feel like I've heard that before. That is amazing.
Didn't we work with a guy who was like super obsessed with Halloween,
Yes.
and he had like Michael Myers tattooed on his arm, and
Matt
then he
Barron,
also had
the mask.
He had the original, like he had created the mask or something.
Oh, he bought it. I think. Did he say that he made his own Michael Myers mask?
I don't know.
I think in the next Halloween, though, to be more realistic, they should run with a sleep apnea mask. Like Michael's not sleeping well at night. He leaves the house and he still has his sleep apnea mask on.
For more Philly, Joe, and Kirby, log it into 92.1 City weekday mornings 6 to 10.
I'm registered dietitian Abby Sharp, and on my new podcast, Bite Back with Abby Sharp, I'll be dismantling the multi-billion-dollar diet industry that keeps us in a cycle of self-loathing and food fear. Join me every Tuesday for expert interviews, engaging conversations, and my signature science and sass to bust myths, correct misinformation, and help you break free from diet culture for good. Listen for free on the Seeker app or wherever you get your podcasts.